Hello everyone. In this lecture I am gonna explain line by line the famous essay, of Revenge, by Francis Bacon, but before I explain this essay, if you are new to my channel then please like and subscribe the channel. Let's start it. Revenge is a kind of wild justice. This is the beginning line and Bacon directly says that revenge feels like justice, but it's uncontrolled and emotional, not fair or lawful. Simply, he says that it looks like justice but it is not justice but a wild justice, which the more man's nature runs to, the more ought law to weed it out. It means that people naturally want revenge, but the law should work harder to stop it because revenge can cause chaos. For as for the first wrong, it doth but offend the law. It means when someone does something wrong, they break the law. But the revenge of that wrong, putteth the law out of office. It means if you take revenge, you ignore the law and take justice into your own hands. Certainly, in taking revenge, a man is but even with his enemy. It means when you get revenge, you only make yourself equal to the person who hurt you. But in passing it over, he is superior. It means that if you forgive or let it go, you show that you are better than them. For it is a prince's part to pardon. Here he says that forgiving is a noble quality, like that of a great leader or a king. And Solomon, I am sure, saith, it is the glory of a man, to pass by an offense. In this line Bacon references the wisdom of Solomon, saying it's honorable for a person to forgive and move on. That which is past is gone, and irrevocable. It means that what has already happened cannot be changed or undone. And wise men have enough to do, with things present and to come. Now he says that smart people focus on the present and the future, not wasting time on what's already over. Therefore they do but trifle with themselves, that labor in past matters. It means that people who dwell on the past are just wasting their time and energy. There is no man doth a wrong, for the wrong's sake, but thereby to purchase himself profit, or pleasure, or honor, or the like. It means that people don't do bad things just because they want to be bad. They usually do wrong because they hope to gain something, like money, enjoyment, or respect. Therefore why should I be angry with a man, for loving himself better than me? It means if someone wrongs you to benefit themselves, it's because they care more about their own interests than about you. Actually, Bacon suggests, why waste energy being angry about this? It's human nature. And if any man should do wrong, merely out of ill nature, why, yet it is but like the thorn or briar, which prick and scratch, because they can do no other. By this line he wants to say that some people hurt others simply because they're naturally unpleasant or mean. To clear the point, Bacon compares them to thorny plants that prick you, not out of malice, but because that's just what they do. The most tolerable sort of revenge is for those wrongs which there is no law to remedy. It means that the only type of revenge that might make some sense is for situations where the law can't provide justice. But then let a man take heed, the revenge be such as there is no law to punish, else a man's enemy is still beforehand, and it is 2 for 1. Now he says that if you seek revenge, make sure it's not illegal, or else you'll end up punished too, and your enemy will have the last laugh. Some, when they take revenge, are desirous, the party should know, whence it cometh. It means that some people want their enemies to know exactly who took revenge on them. This is the more generous. For the delight seemeth to be, not so much in doing the hurt, as in making the party repent. Now Bacon sees this kind of revenge as more noble because the goal isn't just to hurt someone, it's to make them regret what they did. But base and crafty cowards, are like the arrow that fleeth in the dark. It means that cowardly people who hide their revenge are sneaky and dishonorable, like an arrow shot in the dark that hits without warning. Cosmus, Duke of Florence, had a desperate saying against perfidious or neglecting friends. "You shall read," saith he, "that we are commanded to forgive our enemies, but you never read, that we are commanded to forgive our friends." In this line Bacon talks about Cosmus, who said that betraying friends are worse than enemies. He argued that while we are taught to forgive enemies, no one says we must forgive unfaithful friends. But yet the spirit of Job was in a better tune. "Shall we," saith he, "take good at God's hands, and not be content to take evil also? And so of friends in a proportion." Now Bacon contrasts Cosmus' harsh view with the biblical Job, who accepted both good and bad in life as part of God's plan. Likewise, we should be willing to accept faults in our friends. This is certain, that a man that studieth revenge, keeps his own wounds green, which otherwise would heal, and do well. It means that thinking about revenge keeps the pain alive, like a wound that never heals. If you let it go, you'll heal. Public revenges are for the most part fortunate, as that for the death of Caesar, for the death of Pertinax, for the death of Henry III of France, and many more. In this line Bacon observes that revenge in public matters, like avenging a leader's death, often turns out successful and is seen as justified. But in private revenges, it is not so. It means that in personal matters, revenge usually causes more problems and rarely ends well. Nay, rather, vindictive persons live the life of witches, who, as they are mischievous, so end they unfortunate. It means that people obsessed with revenge are like witches, they cause harm but end up miserable themselves. I hope you have enjoyed this lecture, but please don't forget like and subscription to my channel. Thank you.